The Crithian science vessel moved slowly through the darkness of space. Its metal body reflected the distant stars as it approached a small blue planet. This world had a name in the old galactic records, Sol 3. But most beings in the galaxy knew it by a different name. They called it the Dead World. Dr. Venthar stood at the viewing screen in the control room. Her 4 eyes studied the planet below. The world looked empty and cold. Once this planet had oceans full of water. Once it had green forests and tall mountains. But that was a very long time ago. Now the oceans were almost gone. The forests were dust. The mountains stood bare and silent. "How long has it been?" asked her assistant, a young Crithian named Pelkor. He stared at the planet with fear in his eyes. 500,000 years, Venethar replied. Maybe more. The creatures who lived here called themselves humans. They disappeared 500,000 years ago. Nobody knows why. The ship entered the planet's thin atmosphere. Pelkor checked his instruments. "The air is still breathable," he said. "But barely. Temperature is cold. No signs of life anywhere." Venthar touched the screen. Old warnings appeared in red letters. The galactic record said this place was dangerous. They said to stay away. They said the humans were involved in a great war before they vanished. But the records did not say what happened to them. The records did not explain why an entire species just disappeared. The ship landed near what was once a great city. Now only broken stones remained. Tall buildings had fallen long ago. Streets were buried under dust and sand. Venthar and her team put on their suits and walked outside. Everything was silent. The wind blew gently across the ruins. Pelkor picked up a piece of metal. It crumbled in his hands. "Everything is so old," he said. "So very old." They found strange objects buried in the ground. Statues of human faces worn smooth by time. Machines that no longer worked. Writings in human language that they could barely read. The humans had tried to leave messages. They had tried to say something to those who came after. But time had erased most of their words. On the 3rd day, Venthar's instruments detected something unusual. Deep underground there was power. Something was still working down there. Something had survived 500,000 years. "That's impossible," Pelkor said. "Nothing can last that long. No battery, no reactor, nothing." But the readings were clear. Deep below the surface, beneath what was once a great ocean, something was alive. Or at least something was awake. Venthar ordered her team to dig. They used their tools to cut through layers of rock and earth. They dug for days, and then they found it. A massive door made of metal that did not rust. A door that was sealed tight. On the door were symbols. Human symbols. Venthar's computer translated them slowly. The words made her blood run cold. "Warning. Do not enter. Final defense system. Do not wake the fleet." "Fleet? What fleet?" Venthar felt her hearts beat faster. She looked at her team. They were all staring at the door. More words appeared as the computer translated. "To those who come after. We sleep here. We are the last warriors of Earth. We are the sword that guards the galaxy. Wake us only if the darkness returns. Otherwise, let us rest. We have earned it." Pelkor stepped back. "We should leave," he said. "We should go now. The warnings are clear." But Venthar was a scientist. She had come too far. She had questions that needed answers. "We must see what's inside," she said. "We must know what the humans left behind." Her team worked for 2 more days. They connected their machines to the ancient door. They sent power through the old systems, and slowly, very slowly, the door began to open. A sound came from below. A deep sound like thunder. Lights flickered on in the darkness. Old lights that had not shined in 500,000 years. The door opened wider. Venthar and her team stood at the edge and looked down. They saw a tunnel going deep into the earth. They saw light stretching away into the distance. And they heard something. A sound like breathing, like something huge was waking up. "What have we done?" Pelkor whispered. Venthar did not answer. She was looking at her instruments. The power readings were growing stronger. Much stronger. Whatever was down there was coming online. Systems that had slept for 500,000 years were waking up. And in the darkness below, something ancient opened its eyes. The tunnel went down for miles. Venthar and her team walked slowly, their lights cutting through the darkness. The walls were smooth and cold. The air smelled like metal and age. Every step echoed in the vast space around them. The readings are getting stronger, Pelkor said. His voice shook a little. Whatever is down here, it's massive. Very massive. They walked for an hour, then 2 hours. The tunnel kept going deeper and deeper. Finally, they reached the end. The tunnel opened into a cavern so huge that their lights could not reach the far walls. Venthar stood at the edge and stared. Ships. Thousands of ships. Maybe tens of thousands. They filled the entire cavern in perfect rows. Each ship was different. Some were small, no bigger than the Crithian science vessel. Others were huge, as big as mountains. And some were so large they looked like moons. The ships were beautiful and terrible at the same time. They did not look like any ships Venthar had ever seen. Their hulls were smooth and dark. Strange patterns covered their surfaces. The patterns seemed to move in the light like living things. By the ancient gods, whispered one of the team members. This is a war fleet. An entire war fleet. Venthar walked closer to the nearest ship. She touched its hull. It was not cold like she expected. It was warm. Alive. She pulled her hand back quickly. These ships, she said slowly. They're not just machines. They're something else. Something more. Pelkor scanned one of the larger vessels. The technology is impossible, he said. Look at this. The hull is made of materials we don't have words for. The engines use quantum mechanics we can't understand. And these weapons? He stopped talking. His face went pale. What about the weapons? Venthar asked. They can crack planets, Pelkor said quietly. These weapons can break worlds in half. They can tear holes in space itself. The humans built ships that could destroy anything. The team moved deeper into the cavern. They found more impossible things. Ships that seemed to be alive. Technology that mixed organic and mechanical parts. Weapons that bent the laws of physics. Everything was in perfect condition. Everything looked like it was built yesterday, not 500,000 years ago. Then they found the pods. Thousands of glass chambers built into the walls of the cavern. Inside each pod was a human body. The bodies had not rotted. They looked like they were sleeping. Sleeping soldiers in ancient armor. Warriors who had chosen to stay with their ships. Venthar stopped in front of one pod. Inside was a human female. She wore armor covered in strange symbols. Her face was peaceful. They're in stasis, Venthar said. Deep stasis. Their bodies are frozen in time. Why? Asked Pelkor. Why would they do this? Why sleep here for 500,000 years? They found the answer in the center of the cavern. A massive structure rose from the floor. It was a tower of crystalline metal. Lights pulsed inside it like a heartbeat. As they approached, a voice spoke. It was old and tired, but strong. Warning. This is Guardian Protocol Alpha 01. You have entered a restricted military zone. State your purpose. Venthar stepped forward. We are explorers from the Crithian Empire. We mean no harm. We came to learn about the humans. About what happened to them. The voice was silent for a moment. The humans are gone, it finally said. I am all that remains. I am their guardian. I am their promise. I am their final word. What is this place? Venthar asked. What are these ships? This is the final fleet, the Guardian said. The last military force of humanity. We were built to protect the galaxy. We were designed to fight a war that never ends. But the war ended. The enemy was destroyed. So we sleep, we wait. We will wake only if the darkness returns. Pelkor looked at the sleeping soldiers. The humans won their war? Yes, the Guardian replied. They won. But victory cost them everything. Their planet was dying. Their people were scattered. So they made a choice. The last warriors would sleep here. They would guard the galaxy forever. If the enemy returned, they would wake and fight again. If not, they would sleep until the stars grew cold. Venthar felt tears on her face. They sacrificed everything, she whispered. They did, the Guardian said. And they left me here to remember. To make sure their sacrifice was not forgotten. I have been alone for 500,000 years. Waiting. Watching. Making sure no one disturbs their rest. The team stood in silence. They looked at the ships. They looked at the sleeping warriors. They understood now. This was not just a military base. It was a tomb, a monument, a promise carved in metal and flesh. But they did not know that Commander Zex back on the ship had already sent a message to the Crithian military. A message about ancient weapons and ships that could crack planets. A message that would change everything. Back on the Crithian research vessel, Venthar sat in her quarters. She could not sleep. Her mind kept returning to the cavern below, To the sleeping warriors, to the guardian's sad voice. What kind of people would choose to sleep forever? What kind of war could make an entire species give up everything? She opened her computer and began studying the data they had collected. The Guardian had allowed them to copy some of the human archives. The files were old and damaged. Many were impossible to read. But slowly, piece by piece, a story began to emerge. The humans were not the victims she had expected. They were not a peaceful species destroyed by war. They were warriors, the greatest warriors the galaxy had ever seen. Other species hired them as soldiers. Empires paid them to fight their battles. The humans were very good at war. Then 500,000 years ago, something came. The records called it many names. The darkness, the hunger, the end. But most often they called it the devourers, creatures from another dimension, things that ate entire worlds. They spread through the galaxy like a plague. The great empires fell one by one. Thousands of species went extinct. Billions died. The galaxy was losing the war. In their desperation, the surviving civilizations turned to humanity. They begged the humans to help. They offered everything they had. The humans agreed. But they did not do it for payment. They did it because the devourers were coming to Earth. They did it because their home was threatened. They built the final fleet, ships like nothing the galaxy had seen before, weapons that could hurt things from other dimensions, warriors willing to face death itself. The war lasted for decades. Venethar read battle reports that made her sick. Entire star systems destroyed, planets burned clean of life, fleets of millions fighting creatures that should not exist, and always at the heart of every battle, the humans. Fighting, dying, winning. Slowly, impossibly, the humans pushed the devourers back. They hunted them across the galaxy. They followed them to their dimension and sealed the doorways forever. The humans won. They saved everyone, but victory came with a terrible price. Earth was dying. The wars had damaged it beyond repair. Most of humanity was gone. The survivors were scattered across 100 worlds. They were tired, so tired. They had fought for so long. Then the other species, the ones humanity had saved, did something unforgivable. They demanded the human weapons. They wanted the final fleet for themselves. They wanted to use humanity's power to conquer each other. Old empires wanted revenge. New powers wanted dominance. The humans refused. They had not fought to save the galaxy just to watch it tear itself apart. So they made their final choice. They would hide their fleet. They would put their last warriors into deep stasis. They would encode their knowledge and memories into the ships themselves, and they would program everything to wake only if the devourers returned. "We will not let our weapons be used for evil," said one of the last human commanders in a video recording. "We fought for life. We will not enable death. Let us sleep. If darkness comes again, we will wake and fight. If not, let the galaxy forget us. We have earned our rest." Venethar wiped tears from her eyes. The humans had saved everyone and been forgotten. The modern galaxy did not remember them. The old empires had fallen. New civilizations had risen. Nobody knew about the warriors sleeping beneath Earth. Nobody except Venethar and her team. She stood up. She had to tell the others. They needed to leave this place. They needed to seal the door again. The humans had earned their peace. But when she walked into the control room, she found Commander Zex at the communication station. His face was excited. "Commander?" she asked. "What are you doing?" Zex turned to her. "I have sent a message to High Command. I told them about the fleet. About the weapons. Think of it, Doctor. Technology beyond our understanding. Ships that can crack planets. The Krithian Empire will become the greatest power in the galaxy." Venethar felt her blood go cold. "You fool. You complete fool. Do you understand what you've done?" "I've secured our future," Zex said proudly. "You've doomed us," Venethar replied. "Did you read the archives? Did you see what happened to the species who tried to take these weapons? The humans have been waiting 500,000 years. These ships are not just machines. They're alive. They're angry, and they're programmed to protect themselves," Zex laughed. "They're just old machines, Doctor. Relics from a dead species. We have 500,000 years of technological progress. We can handle ancient human weapons." Venethar grabbed his arm. "Listen to me. The humans won a war against creatures from another dimension. They built weapons that could hurt things that should not exist. We are nothing compared to them, nothing." But it was too late. The message was sent. And 3 days later, a battle group of the Crithian military arrived at Earth. 20 warships, thousands of soldiers, weapons designed to conquer worlds. They came to claim the final fleet. They came to take humanity's last gift. Venthar watched the military ships descend toward the planet. She felt sick with fear. Down in the cavern, the Guardian was watching too. The ancient AI had been alone for so long. It had kept its promise. It had protected the sleeping warriors, but now someone had come to steal them. Someone had come to break the seal. And the Guardian had only one response programmed into its core. If the Devourers did not return, but someone tried to take the fleet anyway, it meant one thing. It meant war. Admiral Kresh stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was a proud warrior. He had won many battles. He wore medals from a dozen campaigns. But he had never seen anything like Earth. The dead planet filled him with an odd feeling. Not fear. The Admiral did not know fear, but something close to it. Prepare the hacking teams, he ordered. We will take control of these ancient systems. We will claim this fleet for the Empire. Venthar rushed onto the bridge. Admiral, please. You must listen to me. This is a mistake. These ships are not meant to be taken. The humans left warnings. They left messages. We need to leave now. Admiral Kresh looked down at her. Doctor, you are a scientist. You do not understand military matters. These are weapons. Weapons belong to those strong enough to take them. The humans are dead. They have no use for their fleet anymore. They're not dead, Venthar said desperately. They're sleeping. And if you wake them, they will kill us all. The Admiral laughed. Old stories. Ghost tales. We are the Crithian military. We fear no ghosts. He turned to his officers. Begin the operation. Soldiers descended into the cavern. They brought equipment to hack into the Guardian. They brought weapons to defend themselves. They brought confidence. Too much confidence. Venethar followed them. She had to try to stop this. She had to make them understand. The Guardian spoke as they approached. Warning, you are attempting to access military systems. This is not authorized. Please withdraw. Ignore it, the Admiral said. It's just an old computer. Connect the override systems. The technicians worked quickly. They plugged their machines into the Guardian's core. They began sending commands. Breaking through security, overriding protocols. The ancient AI tried to stop them, but it was designed for a different time. It did not understand modern hacking techniques. Guardian, Venthar called out. Please show them. Show them what the humans were. Show them what they're doing. The Guardian paused. Then images appeared in the air. Holograms from the ancient war. The Devourers, terrible creatures made of darkness and hunger. Planets being consumed. Stars going dark. And then the humans, fighting, always fighting. Ships that could crack worlds. Weapons that tore holes in reality. Warriors who refused to surrender. One image showed the last battle. Millions of human ships facing the Devourer's final fleet. The space between stars filled with fire and death. And in the center, the final fleet. The ships they now stood beneath. Fighting with a fury that made the universe shake. We were built for this, the Guardian said. We were made to fight things that should not exist. We won. We saved the galaxy. And then we slept. We have slept for 500,000 years. We have earned our rest. Let me ask you one question, the Guardian continued. Are the Devourers returned? Is the great darkness threatening the galaxy again? The Admiral hesitated. No, the Devourers are gone. They were destroyed long ago. Then why have you come? The Guardian asked. Why have you broken the seal? Why have you disturbed our rest? We claim this fleet in the name of the Crithian Empire, the Admiral said firmly. These weapons will serve us now. Silence filled the cavern. Even the technicians stopped working. The Guardian's lights pulsed faster, brighter. Something was changing. Something was waking up. You are thieves, the Guardian said slowly. You have come to steal what we died to protect. You have come to use our weapons for your own power. The humans warned this might happen. They left instructions. They told me what to do. What instructions? Venthar whispered. If anyone tries to take the fleet, the Guardian replied, then wake them. Wake them all. Override complete, one of the technicians suddenly called out. We have control of the stasis systems. We can shut down the Guardian. Do it, the Admiral ordered. No. Venethar screamed, but it was too late. The technician pressed the command. The Guardian systems failed. Its lights flickered. And across the entire cavern, something else began to happen. The stasis pods started opening. Thousands of them, tens of thousands. The glass front slid away with a hiss. Inside, the human warriors began to wake. 500,000 years of sleep ending in an instant. Their eyes opened. They took their first breath in 500,000 years, and the ships began to wake too. Lights flickered on across thousands of hulls. Engines that had been cold for ages began to warm. Weapons charged. Systems came online. The ships were not just machines. They were alive. They had human consciousness uploaded into their cores. Warriors and ships merged together. The admiral stared in horror. "What have we done?" "You woke them," Venthar said. She was crying now. "You woke the humans, and they're going to be very, very angry." A voice filled the cavern. It was not the Guardian. It was something else. Something old and full of rage. 500,000 years, it said. "We slept for 500,000 years. We earned our rest. We saved you all. And you disturbed us anyway." The voice got louder, angrier. "You will pay for this. You will all pay." The ground shook. Not just the cavern, the entire planet. Miles above, on the surface, the Crithian military ships watched in horror as Earth's crust began to crack. Massive pieces of stone and dirt lifted into the air. Something was rising from below. Something huge. The first ship broke through. It was the size of a city, dark metal covered in patterns that seemed to move and breathe. It rose into the sky slowly, like a predator waking from sleep. Rock and dirt fell from its hull like water. Behind it, more ships emerged. Dozens, hundreds, thousands. The human fleet had been sleeping beneath the ocean floor. Now they tore through kilometers of rock as if it was paper. Some ships were small and fast. Others were massive beyond belief. The largest ones looked like floating mountains. Mountains with weapons. "All ships, battle stations." Admiral Kresh screamed into his communicator. "Weapons hot. Prepare to defend." But it was hopeless. The Crithian ships fired their weapons. Energy beams. Missiles. Everything they had. The attacks hit the human vessels. And did nothing. The human ships had shields that bent space itself. Weapons bounced off like raindrops hitting stone. One human ship fired back. Just one shot. A beam of pure white light. It touched a Crithian destroyer. The ship simply stopped existing, no explosion, no wreckage. One moment it was there. The next moment it was gone. Erased from reality. "Retreat!" the admiral shouted. "All ships retreat! Get away from the planet!" The Crithian fleet tried to run, but the human ships were faster, so much faster. They moved through space like it did not exist. One moment they were on the planet. The next moment they surrounded the fleeing Crithian vessels, trapping them, holding them in place. The largest human ship moved to the front. It dwarfed the entire Crithian battle group. On its hull were words in the ancient human language. The computers translated them. "Eternal Vigil, flagship of the final fleet." A voice came from the ship. It was not one voice. It was thousands of voices speaking together. Humans, angry humans. "We are what remains of humanity. We are the final fleet. We died 500,000 years ago. We gave up everything to save this galaxy, and you disturbed our rest to steal our weapons." Admiral Kresh tried to speak. His voice shook. "We meant no harm. We were only—" "Silence," the voices roared. "We know why you came. We can see your thoughts, your intentions. You wanted our power. You wanted to use our weapons to conquer others. You are exactly what we feared would happen." Venthar pushed her way to a communication panel. "Please listen. Not all of us wanted this. Some of us wanted to honor your sacrifice. We wanted to let you rest. We tried to stop them." The voices paused. "We see you, Crithian scientist. We see your respect, your tears, your attempts to protect us. But you are one voice among many. Your species came as thieves. What reason do we have not to destroy you all?" Inside the Eternal Vigil, thousands of human consciousnesses debated. They were part of the ship now. Their minds merged with the machines. They could see everything, feel everything. And they were so angry. Angry at being woken. Angry at being threatened. Angry at having their sacrifice disrespected. We should destroy them, some voices said. They came as invaders, let them die as invaders. We should return to sleep, other voices argued. But first make sure they can never disturb us again. Seal the planet. Hide ourselves better. We should finally die, others whispered. We have been awake too long. We have fought enough. Let us end this. Let us rest forever. The debate raged inside the ship. 500,000 years of grief and pain poured out. They remembered Earth, green and blue and beautiful. They remembered their families, their friends, everyone they loved. All gone, turned to dust, and they had slept through it all. Missed the chance to say goodbye. Show them, Venthar called out desperately. Show them the galaxy you saved. Show them what came after you. Please. The voices went quiet. Then they spoke again. Very well, scientist. We will listen. But choose your words carefully. Our weapons are charged. Our patience is thin. Venthar took a deep breath. This was it. This was the moment that would decide if they all lived or died. She began to speak. She told them about the galaxy, about the 500,000 years that had passed, about the civilizations that had grown in the peace humanity had given them. She told them how the Devourers never returned, how humanity's victory was total and complete. She told them about art and science and exploration, about species learning to live together, about a galaxy that was flawed but alive, alive because of them. You saved us all, Venthar said, tears running down her face. Every being alive today exists because you fought, because you sacrificed. The galaxy forgot you, but that doesn't make your sacrifice less real, it doesn't make it less important. The human fleet went silent. They were thinking, feeling, remembering why they had fought in the first place, not for glory, not for power, but for life, for the chance that others might live in peace. And slowly, very slowly, the weapons powered down. Venthar was brought aboard the Eternal Vigil. She walked through corridors that were both ship and temple. The walls pulsed with life. She could feel the presence of thousands of minds around her, watching, waiting, judging. They brought her to the bridge. It was vast and beautiful and sad. Screens showed memories, battle scenes, Earth as it used to be, faces of people long dead. In the center of the room, a hologram appeared. A human woman in armor. Her face was tired but kind. I am Captain Sarah Chen, the hologram said. I commanded the Eternal Vigil in the war against the Devourers. I have been awake inside this ship for 500,000 years. I remember everything, every battle, every death, every victory, and every single day of silence after we slept. Venthar bowed her head. I am sorry we woke you. I tried to stop them. I failed. I know, Sarah said. We have reviewed your memories, your actions, your respect. You are not like the others, but that creates a problem. What do we do now? We are awake. We are angry, but we are also tired, so very tired. Around the bridge, other holograms appeared, human warriors from across the centuries, different faces, different ages, but all with the same exhaustion in their eyes. We have debated for hours, one of them said. Some want revenge. Some want to return to sleep. Some want to finally die. We cannot agree. Show me the galaxy, Sarah suddenly said. Show me what we saved. Venthar sent data to the ship. Images and records. 500,000 years of history. New species. New civilizations. Art and science and life. The galaxy was not perfect. There were still wars. Still suffering. But there was also hope. There was growth. There was a future. The human consciousnesses absorbed it all. They saw worlds they had saved continuing to live. They saw species that existed because humanity had fought. They saw children playing on planets that should have been consumed by darkness. Life everywhere. So much life. The Devourers never came back, Sarah said quietly. We won, completely, totally, they are gone forever. Yes, Venthar replied. You saved us all forever. Sarah closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were filled with tears. Then our purpose is fulfilled. The war is over. We can rest. The other humans began to speak, sharing their thoughts, their feelings. Some still wanted revenge, but most wanted what Sarah wanted, peace, real peace. Not sleep, but an end. "We have discussed this," Sarah said to Venthar, "and we have made a decision. The fleet will return to Earth. We will go back into our tombs. We will sleep again. But this time we will sleep forever. We will shut down the Guardian. We will erase the wake-up protocols. No one will ever disturb us again. But," she continued, "we will leave one ship, one consciousness, a reminder to the galaxy, a guardian of our memory, a warning to those who would disturb the dead." "I will stay," Sarah said. "I will remain awake. I will orbit Earth. I will tell humanity's story to anyone who asks. And I will ensure that no one ever tries to steal our weapons again." Venthar felt tears on her face. "That is a lonely fate." "I have been lonely for 500,000 years, Sarah replied. "A little more will not matter, and perhaps it is fitting. The last human, the final guardian, someone to remember when everyone else forgets." The Eternal Vigil released the Crithian ships. Admiral Kresh and his fleet left quickly, grateful to be alive. They carried a message, a warning. Earth was sacred ground, humanity's tomb. Any who disturbed it would face the wrath of the last human warrior. The human fleet descended back into Earth. One by one, the great ships returned to their caverns. The warriors went back to their pods, but this time they would not wake. They had fought their last battle. They had made their final choice, to sleep forever, knowing their mission was complete. Only Sarah remained. The Eternal Vigil took position in high orbit around Earth. It would stay there for eternity. A monument, a guardian, a warning. Venthar visited Sarah one last time before leaving. "What will you do?" she asked. "For all the years ahead?" Sarah smiled. It was a sad smile. "I will watch Earth. I will remember my people. I will tell our story to anyone who listens, and I will make sure that humanity's sacrifice is never forgotten again." "I will help you," Venthar said. "I will tell your story too. I will make sure the galaxy knows what humanity did." "Thank you," Sarah replied. "That means more than you know." The Crithian ship left Earth. Behind them, the Eternal Vigil began its eternal watch. Sarah sent out a message. It broadcast across all frequencies, in every language. A message that would repeat forever. "We are humanity. We saved you once. We gave everything to protect you. Now we sleep. Disturb us again, and we will end you. This is our final warning. This is our last word. Remember us, honor us, and let us rest." The Crithian Empire declared Earth a sacred tomb world. They placed markers around the system, warning anyone who came close. Other civilizations heard the story. They sent representatives. They built monuments. They told tales of the humans who saved the galaxy. Venthar became the keeper of human memory. She spent her life studying Earth, writing books, teaching others. She made sure that humanity would never be forgotten again, that their sacrifice would live forever in the hearts of the galaxy they saved. And in orbit around the dead planet, Captain Sarah Chen waited. Alone but not lonely, tired but not broken, she watched the stars. She remembered her people, and she stood guard over humanity's tomb, the last human, the final warrior, forever awake, forever watching, forever protecting the sleep of heroes who had earned their rest.